Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल नमो ओम विष्णु प्रदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी प्राश्चित्य देशातारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा शिवाशदि गौर भक्त वृंदा वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वती व्यासे ततो जयेरुदीरयेत् शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तनं हृदयनर्थतो ये भद्राणि विद्युनोतिषु इष्टतां नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday Love Feast program. I don't consider myself qualified enough to speak on Bhagavad Gita, but I need a blessing from all of you Vaishnava. So then I'll able to glorify the wonderful word of this Supreme Personality of Godhead. So please bless me. So then the right moment, the right word can actually come out from my mouth. So we are in chapter 7. And how many of you remember which shloka we are in? Hari Bol, attentive audience. Yeah, so let's go to our shloka. So we are in page number 317. त्रिभिर्गुणमयी भाविः
Tribhirgunamayi bhavi.
एविका सर्व इदं जगत्
Evika sarva idam jagat.
महितं नाभिजानाति
Mohitam nahijanati.
मामेभ्य परम् अव्ययम्
Mamebhya paramam avyayam.
त्रिभिर्गुणमयी भाविः
Tribhirgunamayi bhave.
एभिः सर्व इदं जगत्
Ibi sarvam idam jagat.
मोहितं नाभिजानाति
Mohitam nabijanati.
मामेभ्य परम् अव्ययम्
Mamebhya paramam avyayam.
त्रिभिर्गुणमयी भाविः
Tribhirgunamayi bhave.
एभिः सर्वम् इदं जगत्
Evih sarvam idam jagat.
मोहितं नाभिजानाति
Mohitam nabijanati.
मामेभ्य परमव्ययम्.
Mamebhya paramam avyayam.
Anybody would like to recite?
Tribhir gunamayir bhave.
त्रिभिर्गुणमयी भाविः
Ibi sarvamidam jagat.
सर्वमिदं जगत्
Mohitam nabijanati.
मोहितं नाभिजानाति
Mamebhya paramavyayam.
मामेभ्य परमव्ययम्.
त्रिभिर्गुणमये भावे
त्रिभिर्गुणमये भावे
सर्वमिदं जगत्
Ibi
सर्वमिदं जगत्
मोहितं नाभिजानाति
मोहितं नाभिजानाति
मामेभ्य परमव्ययम्
मामेभ्य परमव्ययम्.
त्रिभिर्गुणमये भावे
त्रिभिर्गुणमयी भावे
सर्वमिदं जगत्
Ibi
सर्वमिदं जगत्
मोहितं नाभिजानाति
मोहितं नाभिजानाति
मामेभ्य परमव्ययम्
Mamebhya paramavyayam.
त्रिभिर्गुणमये भावे
सर्वमिदं जगत्
Ibi
सर्वमिदं जगत्
मोहितं नाभिजानाति
मोहितं नाभिजानाति
मामेभ्यः परं व्ययम्
मामेभ्य परमव्ययम्. Anybody else?
Any other kids?
Isha or Shairi or Sonali?
Two more.
Would like Sonali, you want to try?
Oh, sure. Okay. त्रिभिर्गुणमये
Tribhirgunamayi bhave.
देवी सर्वमिदं जगत्
Devi sarvamidam jagat
मोहितं लोभिजानाति
mohitam nabhijanati
मामेभ्य परम् अव्ययम्
mamebhya paramavyayam.
Very nice.
Shairi, you wanted to try? Kisha.
त्रिभिर्गुणमय भावे
त्रिगुणमये भावे
इति सर्व इदं जगत्
एवं
सर्वमिदं जगत्
मोहितं नाभिजानाति
मोहितं नाभिजानाति
मम इभ्य परम् अव्ययम्
मामेभ्यः परमव्ययम्.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anybody would like to read the translation?
Deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible.
Very good. Sonal, you want to read the purport?
Sure. Okay. The whole world is enchanted by the three modes of material nature.
Go slowly, okay? Go slowly.
Those who are bewildered by these three modes cannot understand that transcendental to this material nature is the Supreme Lord Krishna. Every living entity under the influence of material nature has a particular type of body and a particular type of psychological and biological activities accordingly. There are four classes of men functioning in the three material modes of nature. Those who are purely in the mode of goodness are called brahmanas. Those who are purely in the mode of passion are called kshatriyas. Those who are in the modes of both passion and ignorance are called vaishyas. Those who are completely ignorance are called sudras. And those who are less than that are animals or animal-like. However, these designations are not permanent. I may be either a brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, or whatever. In any case, this life is temporary. But although life is temporary and we do not know what we would want to be in the next life, by the spell of this illusory energy, we consider ourselves in terms of this bodily conception of life, and we thus think that we are American, Indian, Russian, or Brahmana, Hindu, Muslim, etc. And if we become entangled with the modes of material nature, then we forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is behind all these modes. So Lord Krishna says that living entities deluded by these three modes of nature do not understand that behind the material background is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many different kinds of living entities: human beings, demigods, animals, etc. And each and every one of them is under the influence of material nature. And all of them have forgotten the transcendent personality of Godhead. Those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance, and even those who are in the mode of goodness, cannot go beyond the impersonal Brahman conception of the absolute truth. They are bewildered before the Supreme Lord and His personal feature, which possesses all beauty, opulence, knowledge, strength, fame, and renunciation. When even those who are in goodness cannot understand, what hope is there for those in passion and ignorance? Krishna consciousness is transcendental to all of these three modes of material nature, and those who are truly established in Krishna consciousness are actually liberated.
So this chapter, it's knowledge about absolute truth. Now, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, why he has to give knowledge about himself, why he has to introduce himself. You know, the God name itself, Krishna, is good enough for introduction. But here, Krishna is actually giving information about himself, how this material world has been created. Krishna has unlimited energy. Krishna is also introducing his energy, that you know what type of energy he has. So why the Supreme Personality of God has to do this? So in this material world, there is two type of people. There is a soul who is a very liberated soul, and there is a soul who is conditioned soul. So conditioned soul, like us, who is bound by the three modes of material nature. Now the liberated soul does not need any explanation about Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are totally free from these three modes of material nature. Just like giving example of gopis, Nitya Siddhas, right? They are in a pure platform where they do not need to know anything about Krishna. And we see the example of gopis. Like gopis, they were not very educated. They are like a very, very, village girl. But look how much faith they have for Krishna, right? So Siddhi Siddha like them, they do not need, because their intelligence is only work to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in the other hand, the conditioned soul like us, we are bound by three modes of material nature. We fail to understand. Majority of the time, if we take an example in this material world, what is the people under the illusion that I am the Karta? Right? Krishna says in the 3rd chapter, Prakriti Kriya Manani Guna Karmani Sarvasha Ahankara Vimudhatma Kartahamiti Manyate. So under the bewilderment, this soul are thinking that I am the Karta, I am the doer. And if we take an example of ourselves, we are also controlled by, the different modes of material nature. Because if we see in the different time of the day or different time in a situation, how we behave. If we understand this actually, how these modes of material nature will work, then we would not get bewildered. We would not get bewildered, and we will actually understand that right now I am actually getting impacted by this mode of passion, mode of ignorance, or mode of goodness. So Krishna is saying that you have to basically, these three modes of material nature is controlled by Krishna. Krishna is the master of this controlling these three modes of material nature. So earlier Krishna says two energy of Krishna, the superior energy and the inferior energy. Now this inferior energy of Krishna, that is where this three material world is been created. And this material world is constituted by these three modes of material nature. So now the people under the illusion, they're thinking, I am the doer. But they are not the actually doer. The three modes of material nature is actually forcing person to act in a certain way. So now, if we take an example, there is the three primary colors, right? These three primary colors, what? Red, yellow, and blue. When we mix these three colors with each other, then the different colors actually get manifested. Similarly, these three modes of material nature, if this, sometime the person is actually not every time this person is actually only influenced by the mode of passion or mode of ignorance or mode of goodness. Majority of the time, the person is actually getting influenced by combination of the mode. So giving an example, like a Prabhupada is actually saying that, the Brahmanas, they are in a mode of goodness. Now there is a Kshatriya. Kshatriya is a combination of a mode of passion and the mode of goodness. And the Vaishya, it is a combination of mode of passion and ignorance, right? And then Shudra is a mode of ignorance. So now it is all depends. The combination of this mode, when it's actually influencing person, which mode it is higher. Meaning like if the person has a mode of influenced by mode of passion and ignorance, but if the ignorance is higher, then he will work mentally like in a mode of ignorance or mode of passion. So it is all depend which mode is actually influencing the person. So understanding this, how this mode of material nature is actually work, person will actually come out of this material world. We get entangled in this material world. This is like these three modes of material nature is like a rope. It is actually bounding us. Now once person is understand that how these three modes of material nature and who is the Karta behind it, and how one can elevate, can actually free himself from this cycle of birth and death. So this is basically this whole shloka is about. So these three modes of material nature, we just discussed this mode of passion, mode of ignorance, and mode of goodness. So now what happened is the Jivatma, who is actually part and parcel of Krishna. And we all know that once upon a time we were with Krishna, but somehow we develop this envious nature and we fall down from the spiritual world to here, into this material world. So now how these three modes of material nature is actually influence on person. Now what is the real nature of the soul? The real nature of the soul is the part and parcel of Krishna, Satchit and Ananda. But then what happened when these three modes of material nature is actually influence on person, it will make actually person forget his real identity. So the real identity forget, and then what happened? This false ego, the false pride is actually manifest in a person's mind. that I am this body. But we are not a body, we are soul, who is a part and parcel of Krishna. So when this influence of three modes of material nature is actually come into person, it will make the person forget that what is his real identity is. And we see, like many times, the Prabhupada is actually, talking about that, we are all spirit soul. We are all spirit soul. But then when we come into the contact with these three modes of material nature, we forgot our identity. So now, next door to the soul, it is who? Intelligent. So now when three modes of material nature is actually heavily influenced person, then what happened? The person will thinking that, I am the body. I am the body, I am not the spirit soul. And then what? Anything related to a body, any relationship to the body, it is mine. And they're coming under the illusion of this, gaining pleasure, and then where they are feeling sorrow when something is not coming into their way with their own desire. This is the illusion. But when person develop this spiritual intelligence, then you will come across to know that I am not a body, I am a spirit soul. So this is what is the duty of these three modes of material nature? That was our own individual desire. No, our desire was alone that we wanted to enjoy separately from Krishna. So the Krishna has created the whole platform, and Krishna is and this material world he has created. Now we coming into this material world, we wanted to enjoy separately, but then what is happening? There is also we have to go through karmic reaction. So the karmic reaction, how this is the whole karmic reaction is working based on our desire, based on the action we perform, and these three modes of material nature. So the mode of material nature, let's take an example of these three modes of material nature. So the people who is in a mode of goodness, how they can elevate themselves from these three modes of material nature to pure goodness. Because till we are in this platform of these three modes of material nature, we cannot understand the spirituality proper. We would not go home back to Godhead. And what is our ultimate goal? We wanted to go back to Krishna. So we need to understand how this whole function is actually working. Then only we will become liberated. So till we are bound by these three modes of material nature, we can't. So let's see, like you can be influenced by any modes of material nature, but if you understand how these three modes of material nature will work, then you will come out of it. So take an example of the person who is in a mode of goodness. So in a Bhagavatam, Canto 4, there is a story of Prachetas. So Prachetas was a son of a Prachina Bahari, come into the lineage of the Prithu Maharaj. So these Prachetas, they were, in a mode of goodness. They were like actually following the instruction of the father, and they wanted to rule the kingdom properly. But they just have no knowledge of how they can rule the kingdom properly. So what happened? They were father, and their father says, okay, go ahead and perform some austerity. So now when they were going to perform the austerity, and the way they met Lord Shiva. Now the Lord Shiva, he is the great Vaishnava. So he preached them and tell them to meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead underneath the water for many years. And then when they came out, they actually able to rule the kingdom properly. Not just rule the kingdom properly, they also get liberated after they leave their body. So this is the mode of goodness. There's somebody who was in a mode of goodness, by the proper instruction from the Acharya, following the proper instruction from Acharya, will get elevated to Shuddha, pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva, goodness, right? Now take an example of a person who is in a mode of passion. So anybody remember who was in a mode of passion? Anybody remember any example? Somebody who's in a mode of passion?
Brahmaji is a mode of passion.
Yeah, Brahmaji is also in a mood of passion. But any good example, Radha Kundari Prabhu? Narad Maharshi.
In what mode?
Mode of passion.
So you're talking about mode.
Shiva also mode of passion. Narad in mode of passion.
Goodness.
What about Prahlad's father, Hiranyakashipu?
Ignorance.
He was complete ignorance.
Shiva also mode of passion.
Mataji, your question is passion and ignorance.
Just the passion.
Just a passion.
Just the passion.
You also passion.
So if we take another example, Dhruva Maharaj, right?
Yeah, Dhruva Maharaj.
Yeah. So the Dhruva Maharaj was Kshatriya.
Yeah.
And Kshatriya is always in a mood of passion and goodness. So now this 5-year-old boy wanted to sit into the lap of his father. And what father did? Actually, father was actually controlled by the stepmother. So the father was actually sitting, and then what happened? The stepmother came, and stepmother actually pushed Dhruva away. And then say that, okay, if you wanted to sit into your father's lap, you have to born from my womb. So then even the Prahlad Maharaj was 5-year-old boy, mode of passion, and then could not, tolerate this insult.
Yeah, Dhruva Maharaj.
Dhruva Maharaj could not tolerate this insult. Then what happened? He went to his mother, and then mother guided him that, you know what, you need to meditate upon Supreme Personality of Godhead. I can't do anything. Only He is the one can help you. So now, when he went to the jungle, he met who?
On the way itself, he met Narada.
Narada Muni. Right? Narada Muni. And then Narada Muni is actually started instructing him. And then he basically telling him that you need to meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he gave him also a mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right? And then what happened? He was in a mode of passion because he wanted to have a bigger kingdom than his father, even a grandfather. That was his mood. Right? The Kshatriya mood is always passionate and could not tolerate the insult. So Dhruva Maharaj could not tolerate the insult to even a 5-year-old boy. Narad Muni tried to, tell him, forget about it. You're just 5-year-old. Forget it and just go back to your home. You don't need to do all of this tapasya. But then what?
He was determined to get that.
His mode of passion was so heavy on him that no, this is something that I wanted to do. So then what happened? He did perform the tapasya. So now when he was performing tapasya and meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the purification is actually happening. And his ultimate goal was what? He wanted to gain the kingdom, which is bigger than his grandfather even. But now what happened? Since he meditated and he followed the instruction of the Acharya, because Narad Muni just not asked him to do meditation, also asked him to follow a lot of procedure, austerity. And after performing austerity and doing meditation, now he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead in front of his eye. And then what happened? Forget about kingdom. What I was asking, I don't even need all of this kingdom. Right? So he was in a mode of passion, but by following this instruction of his guru, Narad Muni, and performing the austerity, and by seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face, now he is elevating from mode of passion to pure goodness. Now he's forgetting about I don't even wanted kingdom anymore. But then Supreme Personality of God did what he did.
He said, I have to give you.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he gave him the whatever his desire. But then what happened? He ruled the kingdom, and then at the end, he also attained the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we can be in a mode of, goodness or mode of passion. But if we follow the instruction, if we engage ourselves into devotional service, we can elevate. Now take example of the ignorance. It is if we take example of ignorance. Hiranyakashipu is also in mode of ignorance. Then there is another one, Mrigari, right? The Valmiki, we know Valmiki, right? So the Valmiki, who was he before? Like a Mrigari, what he was before? He was a hunter, right? And hunter into the level that he was not even killing the animal fully. He was half killing the animal. Imagine in what a torture that animal was actually going through. Completely in ignorance.
He was getting pleasure by seeing that.
Correct. Because that is what he been taught. He's this is what is been teach my grandfather, my father used to do this. And that exactly, I get pleasure out of doing this. But when Narad Muni, when he saw, he was feeling so much of compassion about this birds, these animals. And then he's trying to find who is this actually fellow is actually killing this. This is a very cruel. And when he find it, then this Mrigari His Mrigari is like, why are you even killing this animal half? If you really wanted to kill them fully. Why are you even doing this? And then he's like, sometimes we also come under so much of ignorance and passion. We're thinking, oh, I have to do this because of my family. Otherwise, how my family is going to survive? But then what happened? The Narad Muni asked him a question. Okay, why can't you go to your family and ask them if they can share your sin? And what did the family says? No. That is where his eye got open. He's like, I am doing so much for my family, killing so much, all the karma, everything I'm taking in my shoulder. Now, at the end of the day, I am the one who is actually going to have to pay for it, right? Nobody else. So then he asked basically Narad Muni, instruct me how I can come out of it. So then what is the Narad Muni said? Okay, go and do tapasya, chant the name of Ram. And he wasn't even chanting the Lord name properly. He was chanting the other way around. But look at, you see the power of the name, the power of the Ram name. You can see. So then, after chanting the Ram name for so many years, now his consciousness has become purified. Now he is this same Mrigari who was actually killing the animal half of the way. Now he's taking a conscious properly that I don't want to even kill the little ant. He was jumping from one place to another to just make sure that I'm not even killing this little ant. So you see, the consciousness from mode of ignorance is also getting elevated to Shuddha Sattva. Right? So on proper understanding. By just what? Performing. Is the Mrigari was actually a very intelligent person? No. And what he did? Only the chant of the holy name. The another example, like if we see the 500 years ago, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, right? And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, great associate Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur, he was born in a Shudra family. He born in the Mohammedan family, right? But he was in so much into the devotional service that his glory was going everywhere. What he was doing, he was just sitting down and chanting the Lord names 300,000 times every day. He wasn't going anywhere, preaching, or he wasn't doing anything else. He was just chanting. See, so this is the power of the holy name. So then his glory is becoming popular everywhere. But then there is the people who is in a mode of ignorance, who is full of envious nature, was having an envy towards this Haridas Thakur. So now this Krishna, what is his guy name? I forgot. Ramachandra Krishna Kazi. I think that was his name. So this fellow was actually become jealous of Haridas Thakur. So what he did, he make an arrangement. He plotted something for Haridas Thakur, that, oh, the Haridas glory he's becoming so much popular. And you know what? I just don't want Haridas Thakur to be glorified. I'm going to make sure he fall down. So what he did, he actually...
He sent a prostitute.
Right. So he hired a prostitute. And he hired a prostitute and tell this prostitute that I want you to go and make this relationship with Haridas Thakur. And when this is happening, I want you to call my guards, so then I can arrest this Haridas Thakur right away. So this young beautiful prostitute, she says, okay, I can do this work. So then this prostitute actually went to Haridas Thakur cottage, and then Haridas Thakur actually was chanting the name of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then this the prostitute says, I wanted to have this relationship with you. Haridas Thakur did not say no. The Haridas Thakur says, yes, you can have it, but let me finish my chanting first. Let me finish my chanting first. You sit down here and you hear what I'm chanting. Then once I finish my round, we can have a relationship, no problem. So this prostitute was actually listening to him for whole night. And whole night he was chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then the morning, when the sun rise, now this prostitute feels shame. No, I can't have a relationship now. So then prostitute says, no, I'm going to leave now. Haridas Thakur says, no problem. You can come again tomorrow. And then we can have whatever desire you have. Now she went to this, in between that time she was also going to this Qazi and actually telling this Qazi that, you know what, I wasn't able to success this today. But tomorrow he promised. So tomorrow for sure I will caught him red-handed. So then the next day came, and then Haridas Thakur says, yeah, I took the vow. I have to chant the name of the Lord. And I can't have any relationship till I finish my round. So he says, okay, I want you to sit down and just listen. Then he was chanting again. Again the morning came. And this prostitute was just waiting. But in between that time, what she was doing? Hearing. Hearing the pure devotees actually chanting the Lord name. So now same thing happened in second night. Now he says, okay, for sure, tomorrow for sure. Tomorrow for sure you'll have it. So come back tomorrow. So then this is the third night. This prostitute is actually listening to the Lord name, and the Haridas Thakur was actually chanting. And the same morning, she actually fell into the feet of Haridas Thakur. She got purified by just hearing the name of the Lord, right? By the pure devotee of the Lord is actually chanting, and she was just only hearing that name. She was in a complete mode of ignorance and elevated herself to goodness, right? And now what happened? This Haridas Thakur, and then she fell into the feet of Haridas Thakur, and she's basically telling this Haridas Thakur, you know what? This is the all arrangement. There was the all plotting was actually done by this Qazi. And you know what is the Haridas Thakur says? I knew that from the beginning, that he has plotted. And I actually wanted to leave same time. The moment I knew that, you know, this is happening, I wanted to leave same time. But I stay back only to liberate you. So now you stay back. I'm leaving this cottage. Chant the holy name nearby the Tulsi Maharani. And then I will leave. And then this prostitute, she actually become a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So see, there's somebody, even though, you know, based on our karma, we might born into a certain family, we born to do certain kind of a work. But the moment we come into the interaction with the pure devotee, you know, especially in Krishna, like Chaitanya Charitamrita says, is like Krishna is like a Surya, and the Maya is Andhkar. When there is a Surya, there is a no Andhkar, right? So similar, so the pure devotee is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who does not have any desire other than serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? And if we are hearing from their mouth, so how many times the devotees from ISKCON even say that, right? Hear the Prabhupada's lecture, hear the Prabhupada's chanting, even for a 10 minutes, even for a 5 minutes. Why? Because Prabhupada is a pure devotee, right? And when we are here from the mouth of the pure devotee, then the cleansing of our heart is actually happening. Because our chanting doesn't have that power. Because we are chanting with so much of a contaminated mind and contaminated senses. But when we hear from the pure devotee, the instruction is actually pure from our heart. Now, do you think this Mrigari has any intelligence to understand the Narad Muni?
Because the association of Narad Muni.
Correct. The association of Narad Muni. So it's like it's so powerful. Same thing, this prostitute, she was doing such a sinful act. And look, by just the association of the Haridas Thakur, she elevated herself. So similarly, now based on our capacity, now, you know, we are in a Krishna conscious. We are all practitioner. Nobody is, you know, in a higher level or nobody is in a lower level. But it is all dependent how every individual is actually doing their practice, how individual is actually doing their sadhana. So if we wanted to elevate ourselves from these three modes of material nature, we need to follow the instruction of Srila Prabhupada. How many times the Radha Govindhari Prabhu always, ask everybody to get up early, chant. We need to chant, we need to chant. And he's basically begging literally every single person to come and chant. Why? Because chanting is the only process will actually revive our consciousness back. You know, what is our consciousness? That we are the spirit soul. And we are a part and parcel of Krishna. And unless we are not chanting, this cleansing process is actually not happening. So to make this cleansing process properly, we need to get up and we need to chant. We need to take this Harinam seriously. Now maybe in the initial stage, we might not even have a taste for chanting. We might not even have a taste for any devotional service. But Krishna is so merciful, so merciful. You know, based on our capacity, he is giving every individual a chance to serve him. Now giving example, right? We all like to do drama, we all like to do dance, we all like to do certain activity, right? Do we think that in this initial stage we are actually doing for the pleasure of Krishna? No. We are actually doing this pleasure for ourselves. But what is happening? Krishna is giving us an opportunity to purify ourselves. So when we become a purified, then we will actually develop a taste for Krishna, right? So whatever service that Krishna is actually giving based on your capacity. You want to put your heart, soul into it. You want it to be sincere into your service, whatever service. And Krishna give everybody service. And Krishna know that, oh, I'm a 70-year-old, or Krishna know you are a 50-year-old, Krishna know you are a 20 years old. Based on that, Krishna is giving service to everybody. Right? Giving another example. I don't know, I think Gautam is not here today. But I don't know if any of you remember, whenever the festival